Have you ever stopped to think that the greatest danger to your health might not be on the street or in processed food, but inside your own home? Often, the most common objects, the ones you use every day without question, hide silent risks that gradually drain your energy, your immunity, and even your longevity. And don't think I'm exaggerating. Studies show that the home environment can be up to 5 times more polluted than the outdoor environment. This means that with every breath, with every contact with certain items, you could be accelerating inflammation, weakening your respiratory system, and even harming your brain without realizing it. Now imagine you take care of your diet, avoid fried foods, and try to exercise, but you still feel tired, have allergies, insomnia, or headaches. Have you ever considered that the cause might be right there, in the pillow you sleep on, the sponge you use to wash dishes, or even that cell phone on your nightstand every night? The danger lives inside your home, and what's worse, no one talks about it. Today I'm going to reveal the 8 objects that might be silently harming your health. Some of them seem so harmless that you'll probably doubt it. But stick with me until the end, because understanding every detail could literally transform your life. And since the right information can change everything, do one thing now. Hit the subscribe button for this channel and leave a like. That way, YouTube will understand that this is an important topic for you and will continue to send you tips that truly keep your body strong and healthy. Get ready, because the first object might be under your head right at this moment. Imagine you lay your head on something soft every night, seeking rest and recovery. But what if I told you that this seemingly innocent object might be aging your skin and silently stealing your health? I'm talking about your pillow. Research shows that a pillow can accumulate millions of dust mites and colonies of fungi within just a few months of use. These microorganisms feed on dead skin cells and sweat residue. The result? A perfect environment for respiratory allergies, asthma attacks, and skin irritations. What should be a haven of rest ends up becoming an invisible minefield. And it doesn't stop there. When we always sleep in the same position, the constant pressure against the face can accelerate the formation of wrinkles and expression lines. It's as if, night after night, your skin is crumpled against a fabric that already carries dirt and bacteria. Many people spend a fortune on anti-aging creams, but ignore that a simple, poorly maintained pillow can be one of the biggest saboteurs of a youthful appearance. Now think with me, when was the last time you replaced your pillow? If it's been more than 2 years, know that it might be up to twice as heavy as when it was new, and that extra weight isn't softness, it's accumulated filth. It's hard to hear, but necessary. A woman I interviewed once said she didn't understand why she always woke up with a stuffy nose and red spots on her skin. After a simple investigation, it was discovered that her pillow was more than 10 years old. The doctor simply said, "The problem isn't in your body, it's in the place where you rest your head." After she replaced the pillow and started using protective covers washed weekly, the symptoms practically disappeared. And have you ever stopped to think if you're sleeping on an ally or a silent enemy? Write in the comments how long you haven't changed your pillow. This reflection might open a lot of people's eyes. And what happens in bed doesn't end with the pillow. There's another household item that seems to be a symbol of cleanliness, but in fact, it can carry more dirt than a toilet bowl. That's what we're going to talk about now. When we think of cleaning, one of the first images that comes to mind is the kitchen sponge. After all, we use it to wash dishes, cutlery, and pans every day. But what few people imagine is that this hygiene ally can actually be one of the most contaminated objects in the house. Studies have shown that a simple kitchen sponge can harbor billions of bacteria, including dangerous strains like E. coli and Salmonella. To give you an idea, it can have up to 200 times more germs than a toilet seat. Shocking, isn't it? In other words, You often think you're cleaning the dishes, but in practice, you're spreading even more dirt and contamination risks. The problem is that the sponge is a perfect environment for microorganisms to proliferate. It accumulates food scraps, retains moisture, and rarely dries completely. Every small use turns into an invitation for bacteria to multiply unchecked. And every time you rub the sponge on a cup or plate, you're carrying these invisible enemies directly into your body. One family reported that for months, their children constantly had stomach aches and episodes of diarrhea. They never suspected the source until they decided to change the sponge every day for a week. The result was surprising. The symptoms practically disappeared. What seemed like just bad luck or food that didn't sit well was actually cross-contamination caused by a tiny, inexpensive object. And you, how do you usually take care of your sponge? Do you change it every week, or do you use it until it falls apart in your hands? This question can generate debate, but the truth is that keeping a sponge for a long time is like having a colony of bacteria growing in your sink. Experts recommend changing it frequently and, if possible, sanitizing it with boiling water or even putting it in the microwave for a few seconds to reduce contamination. But even then, nothing replaces regular replacement. Now that you know the sponge can be a poison disguised as cleanliness, we need to talk about an even more controversial object. It's present in almost every kitchen in the world and can release invisible poisons every time you cook your food. Let's find out what it is. Inside the kitchen, there is an object that seems harmless, but can turn every meal into a silent bomb for your body, your pots and pans. Many of them, especially the older or poorly maintained ones, release invisible substances that accumulate in your body over the years. The most famous example is Teflon pans. When new, they seem practical and safe, but just one small scratch on the coating can cause microparticles with toxic chemical compounds to come loose and mix with your food. These residues are associated with hormonal problems, chronic inflammation, and even an increased risk of some types of cancer. And what's worse, most people continue to use the same scratched pans for years without imagining what they are ingesting. Another danger lies in aluminum pans, especially the older ones. Over time and with heat, they release small doses of aluminum which, when consumed daily, can harm memory, affect the nervous system, and even accelerate degenerative processes, such as those seen in neurological diseases. In other words, that lovingly prepared stew can come with an ingredient no one asked for: heavy metal. An emblematic case happened with a family who, despite maintaining a healthy diet, constantly faced fatigue and headaches. After a medical consultation and tests, contamination by metals was suspected. The detail that stood out was that they had been using the same worn-out aluminum pans for over 15 years. When they decided to switch to safer options like good-quality stainless steel or cast iron, the symptoms began to decrease. And you, have you looked closely at your pans? Are they really taking care of your health or just masking an invisible danger? Write in the comments. Do you believe this risk is real, or do you think it's an exaggeration? This is a discussion that divides opinions but needs to be addressed. Because, in the end, cooking should be an act of life, not a ritual of slow poisoning. But the danger isn't just in what you use to prepare food. Often, it's hidden under your feet, silent and unreachable to the common eye. Let's talk now about the carpet in your house and the dark secrets it can hold. The carpet is seen as a detail of comfort and elegance in the home. It warms the environment, brings coziness, and completes the decor. But behind this welcoming appearance, a powerful enemy to your health can be hiding. Research shows that carpets are true reservoirs of dust mites, fungi, and even residue from pollutants that enter through the window or stick to your shoes. Every step you take, every movement, raises a microscopic cloud of particles that you breathe in without realizing it. The problem is that these particles can cause allergies, rhinitis, and sinusitis attacks, and even worsen respiratory diseases in older people. A real example is an elderly man who, after moving into his daughter's house, began to experience frequent shortness of breath and nighttime coughing. For weeks, he believed he was developing a serious lung disease. But after an evaluation by a specialist, it was discovered that the cause was under his feet. The shaggy living room rug accumulated an absurd amount of dust and mold. Simply removing the rug and intensifying the cleaning was enough for the symptoms to disappear almost completely. Additionally, carpets can harbor toxic residues from chemicals used in manufacturing, such as dyes and glues. These compounds release imperceptible gases, but they irritate the respiratory system and, in cases of long-term exposure, can even affect the immune system. And here, a controversial question arises. Is it worth keeping a decorative object that compromises your health? Maybe you're asking yourself, but if I vacuum every week, isn't that enough? The truth is that even constant cleaning doesn't completely eliminate the risk, as many particles get deeply trapped in the fibers. And you, do you have carpets at home? Have you noticed if you feel a difference in your breathing when you're in an environment with or without them? Leave your opinion in the comments, because this is an important discussion. Now, if even your floor can be an enemy, imagine what happens when we use technology in the wrong way. The next object can turn a simple gesture of convenience into a dangerous habit for your entire body. The microwave is seen as an ally of convenience. In just a few seconds, it heats your meal and solves the problem of a busy day. But the danger isn't in the appliance itself, it's in what we put inside it, plastic containers. When exposed to heat, many plastics release chemicals like BPA and phthalates. These compounds are known as endocrine disruptors because they interfere with the body's hormonal balance. They can affect fertility, increase the risk of obesity, harm memory, and even favor the development of chronic diseases. And the most frightening detail is that this doesn't happen immediately but slowly, over years of exposure. Imagine daily heating that same plastic container that's already a bit scratched or faded. Each meal can be carrying a small dose of invisible toxins. It's as if you were seasoning your food not just with salt and herbs, but also with poison. A striking example was a family that always prioritized homemade meals and believed they were living a healthy life. Even so, the mother began to suffer from hormonal changes and unexplained fatigue. After several consultations, it was discovered that the habit of heating food in plastic containers in the microwave was one of the main factors of BPA exposure. Switching to glass containers significantly reduced the symptoms. And here's a provocative question. Is the problem the microwave, as many believe, or are we using it in the wrong way? This is a question that generates heated debates and deserves your opinion in the comments. The good news is that there is a solution. Replacing plastics with glass or ceramic containers is a simple but powerful step to protect your health. It's a precaution that, many times, is worth more than any expensive supplement. If even the convenience of the kitchen can hide invisible risks, imagine what happens with objects that give off pleasant scents, but silently poison your body. In the next section, we're going to reveal the truth behind some cleaning products you probably use every day. Few things convey the feeling of an organized home like the smell of cleanliness. That fragrance that spreads after you use a disinfectant or spray something in the air seems synonymous with care. But is that smell of cleanliness really a sign of health? The answer might shock you. Many of the products used daily in our homes contain chemicals called volatile organic compounds. They evaporate easily and spread through the air you breathe. At first, they seem harmless, but continuous exposure can cause headaches, respiratory allergies, eye irritation, and even trigger asthma attacks. In some cases, studies show that prolonged exposure is linked to hormonal imbalances and a higher risk of chronic diseases. A housewife said that, for years, she believed that the strong smell of disinfectant was synonymous with hygiene. However, she lived with intense migraines and coughing fits. After switching to natural alternatives such as vinegar, baking soda, and essential oils, the symptoms drastically decreased. In other words, it wasn't her health that was fragile, but the products she was using that were slowly poisoning her. The most worrying thing is that many companies exploit the emotional factor. They create fragrances with names like Pure Air or Mountain Breeze. But in practice, they are just masking formulas full of chemicals that poison your body with every inhalation. And here the controversy arises. Is it worth sacrificing your breathing in exchange for a pleasant scent? And have you ever had a headache or irritation after using certain cleaning products? Leave a comment, because this is a more common experience than it seems. The good news is that there are alternatives. Natural products, proper ventilation, and even purifying plants can help keep your home clean and healthy without compromising your quality of life. But if even the air you breathe can be contaminated inside the house, imagine what happens in the place where you spend 1/3 of your life. In the next part, we're going to talk about the mattress, an object that should restore your energy but might be draining your health in silence. Few people stop to think about this, but the mattress is where we spend almost 1/3 of our lives. It should be a place of rest and renewal. However, when poorly cared for or used for too long, it can turn into a silent trap that drains your energy night after night. Over the years, the mattress accumulates sweat, dead cells, dust, and even microscopic skin flakes. This environment is perfect for the proliferation of dust mites and fungi. The result is a dangerous cycle. You lie down seeking rest, but wake up with allergies, coughs, a stuffy nose, or body aches. It's as if the mattress is sucking your vitality instead of restoring it. A detail that few people know is that a 10-year-old mattress can weigh up to twice its original weight. And not because of the foam or springs, but because of the accumulation of invisible dirt. This extra load is a reflection of years of exposure to substances that directly affect your respiratory and immune health. An emblematic example is a 65-year-old man who didn't understand why he always woke up exhausted, even after sleeping 8 hours a night. After medical exams that did not show any serious illness, the investigation turned to the environment. His mattress was over 12 years old. Simply replacing it with a new one and investing in protective covers washed weekly was enough for his energy to start returning. And here the controversy arises. Is it worth saving money on a mattress and compromising years of health? How many people continue to sleep on old mattresses, believing they are just being economical, when in fact they are sacrificing their bodies every night? And you, how long has it been since you replaced your mattress? Answer in the comments and share your experience, because this is a topic that divides opinions. But if even the place of rest can be an enemy, imagine an object that stays by your side all night, emitting light, notifications, and signals that affect your sleep and your mind. In the next section, we're going to talk about the cell phone on the nightstand and the terrifying impact it can have on your health. The cell phone has become almost an extension of our body. It's always within arm's reach, during the day, at work, in conversations with family, and even at night on the bedside table. But keeping this device so close while we sleep can be one of the most harmful habits for our health. First, there's the blue light emitted from the screen. Even a few seconds of looking at your phone before bed is enough to trick your brain, reducing the production of melatonin, the hormone responsible for inducing deep sleep. The result? You fall asleep later, wake up several times during the night, and start the day tired, as if you hadn't rested at all. Furthermore, notifications, vibrations, and subtle sounds keep your nervous system in a state of alertness. Even when you don't notice it, your body doesn't complete its full recovery cycles. It's like trying to sleep in a noisy environment, but without realizing the noise because the disturbance is invisible. Another controversial point is the radiation emitted by cell phones. Although science is still debating the long-term effects, there are signs that constant exposure is related to increased anxiety, difficulty sleeping, and even cardiovascular changes. Sleeping with your phone on your nightstand might seem harmless, but it's a silent risk that many people insist on ignoring. A common case is people who complain of morning headaches, difficulty concentrating, and daytime sleepiness. When they are advised to leave their phone outside the bedroom, or at least away from the bed, they notice an immediate improvement in their sleep and well-being. A small gesture, but with an enormous impact. And here's the question: could you sleep a full night without your cell phone next to you? Many people answer no, and that's exactly where the danger lies. The more dependent we are on this device, the less we perceive its hidden effects on our health. In the comments, I want you to answer honestly. Do you sleep with your phone on your nightstand, or have you noticed that this habit is stealing your energy? This exchange can open other people's eyes. Now that you know about the 8 objects that may be silently compromising your health, it's time to recap and reflect. From the dust mite-filled pillow to the cell phone that robs you of sleep, each one shows that the real danger is not always outside the home, but in the very place where we seek comfort and security. The big lesson here is simple. It's not enough to just take care of your diet or exercise. The environment you live in is an essential part of your health. Small changes, replacing your pillow, substituting your sponge, reviewing your pans, rethinking your carpets, avoiding plastics in the microwave, reducing toxic products, renewing your mattress, and moving your phone away from your bed can transform your body and your life. But I ask you, how many people in your family know about this? How many continue to repeat habits without imagining the consequences? That's why this video needs to be shared. The right information can save someone you love, and since the right information can literally change your life, do one thing now. Tap the subscribe button on this channel and leave a like. That way, YouTube will understand that this is an important topic for you and will continue sending you tips that truly keep your body strong and healthy. I also want to know, of these 8 objects, which one surprised you the most? Write in the comments, because your answer can help other people protect themselves. And don't forget, in the next video, I'll reveal another secret hidden in your daily life that may be silently accelerating the aging of your body. A detail that most people ignore, but which could be stealing years from your life without you even realizing it. Because in the end, health starts at home, and only those who see the invisible can truly protect themselves.